Totally Tubular Trivia. I'm Hollie Woods, serving up a righteous trivia trip packed with brain busters on the flicks, tunes, and totally tubular trends that made the 80s the most rad decade ever. We don't do boring here with hour-long yammering. This show is interactive and goes straight to the fun. But before we dive into this bodacious explosion of memories, let's reveal the answer to last week's radical riddle. The answer to that half-man, half-cheese intergalactic loan shark is Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs. He was the ultimate delicious disgrace who literally ate himself to death in the back of a limousine. I guess what happens in a limo should stay in a limo. But this guy managed to take himself out by becoming his own midnight snack, and everyone heard about it. Anyway, let's get on with the show. I've got 10 gnarly questions to test your 80s IQ. So grab a new Coke and let's go.
Question 1. Movies.
In the 1984 fantasy epic, The Never-Ending Story, what is the name of the dragon that looks like a massive flying golden retriever? The answer is Falkor. Falkor is basically a 43-foot flying shag carpet with the face of a puppy and the body of a glittery snake. He looks like a taxidermy project gone horribly wrong. Riding him sounds like a dream until you realize you're soaring through the clouds on a giant creature that probably smells like a wet dog.
Question 2. Music.
In 1985, Quincy Jones gathered like 46 icons to record We Are the World, which legendary folk star stood in the choir looking totally lost until Stevie Wonder taught him how to sound like himself. The answer is Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Bob stood in the choir looking like a scared middle school kid who wandered into the wrong class.
Oops.
He was so lost that Stevie Wonder actually had to do a Dylan impression just to teach Bob how to sound like himself. Once he realized he could just mumble like he was chewing on marbles, he finally nailed it.
Question 3. TV.
Which late-night movie show featured the leggy blonde bombshell Rhonda Shear and a library of the absolute worst films ever made? The answer is USA, Up All Night. Rhonda was the queen of B-movies and neon spandex. She hosted absolute trash films like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes while wearing outfits held together by static and hairspray. She was a major crush for every kid who was supposed to be sleeping but were instead captivated by her generous presentation.
Question 4. Fashion.
What design trend made your clothes look like they'd been used as a drop cloth for a neon-obsessed abstract artist? The answer is splatter paint clothes. If you didn't look like a Jackson Pollock painting had a midlife crisis, were you even living? This trend proved we'd pay actual money to look like we'd just survived a messy encounter with a malfunctioning Sherwin-Williams truck. It was the perfect look for people who wanted to look creative, but haven't done the laundry since the Reagan administration.
Question 5. Pop culture.
In May 1986, millions of people held hands across the United States to raise money for hunger. What was the name of this massive, slightly disorganized human chain? The answer is Hands Across America. It was the ultimate 80s feel-good moment where we thought holding hands would somehow fix the economy. We stood in a line from New York to California, even though there were massive gaps in the desert where people just didn't show up. It was basically a giant version of Red Rover, but instead of breaking the line, we were just trying not to get a sunburn. Standing in line holding hands with a total stranger for 15 minutes was so awkward. I spent the whole time worrying that I'd end up next to someone with clammy palms or a guy who wouldn't stop singing We Are the World off-key. Anyway, since we're mid-episode, it's time for the commercial break trivia question. Speaking of stuff that'll give you a serious case of the creeps, let's talk about some tiny weird intruders in the kitchen.
Question 6. Commercials.
Which dog food brand featured a miniature stagecoach racing across the kitchen floor while a tiny cowboy steered his team toward a bowl of frontier flavor? The answer is Chuck Wagon. This commercial was pure psychological warfare for dogs. You had a tiny covered wagon racing across the linoleum while your pet went absolutely nuclear. Your dog was just sitting there wondering why dinner was playing Oregon Trail without a computer. It was a weird time a brand tried to convince us that house pets were secretly yearning for the Wild West.
Question 7. Food.
Which indulgent treat became the ultimate 1980s decadent dessert trend? The answer is cheesecake. Cheesecake was like the absolute peak of that obsession. It was also the only thing keeping the Golden Girls from killing each other. Every single drama in Miami could be solved at 2 a.m. as long as there was also whipped cream and a pot of coffee on the table.
Question 8. Video games.
In this 1981 arcade classic, you played a plumber named Jumpman trying to rescue a lady from a giant barrel-tossing gorilla. What was the name of this massive primate? The answer is Donkey Kong. The creators named him Donkey, thinking it meant stupid, making him just a dumb ape who snatched a lady for some high-altitude company. As the local carpenter climbs up, desperate to nail both the primate and the girl, the ape spends the night furiously tossing his thick wooden barrels to keep him down. You really have to admire the stamina it takes to keep your wood coming at a man's face until he finally drops.
Question 9. Toys.
What was the name of the circular plastic toy that you would rotate until you saw stars and potentially blew chunks? The answer is Sit and Spin. The Sit and Spin was the ultimate way to chase a plastic-induced buzz in the middle of the living room. It featured a smooth seat that made a heavy grinding noise as you maintained a firm, two-handed grip on the shaft, working it faster and faster to reach your dizzy peak. That loud, rhythmic friction provided a frantic soundtrack as you rode it for all it was worth, usually ending with the rider breathless on the floor.
Question 10. Celebrities.
Which beach vampire actor from The Lost Boys has a secret double that most fans never knew about? The answer is Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer actually has a twin sister named Rachel, who works behind the scenes as a film producer. One twin is playing a vampire on the big screen, while the other is in the back, making sure the footage actually looks good. It is a wild family dynamic where Kiefer gets to be the leather jacket legend, while Rachel basically has to make sure her brother doesn't look like a total dork in a jacket. You survived sheer, spinning, and standing with strangers. Congratulations! Thanks for hanging out. But wait, before you down a wine cooler, I'm leaving you with a radical riddle to think about until the next episode. I'm the furry traveler from the planet Melmac. If I see your pet kitten, I'm having a snack. I crashed in a garage and stayed for the beer. The snarkiest alien to land in our sphere. Who am I? Think about it. I'm Hollie Woods, and I'll reveal the answer next time right here on Totally Tubular Trivia. Be excellent to each other.